Music hold ended.
Good morning and welcome to the Arapahoe County Public Meeting, August 11th, 2020. And I'll call the meeting to order. I'll introduce Ron Carl, County Attorney, and Jolene Sanchez, Clerk to the Board Administrator. Ms. Sanchez, would you call the roll of the board, please?
Commissioner Conti?
Good morning.
Good morning. Commissioner Sharp?
Here.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Jackson?
Here.
And Commissioner Holland?
Here. Commissioner Baker, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I certainly will. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Call, are there any modifications to the agenda this morning?
There are no modifications.
Thank you. I'll ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Holland.
Jeff Baker seconds.
Seconded by Commissioner Baker. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Now's the time in our meeting where we take citizen comment. If there's anyone on the line who would like to speak, you need to press star 3 to unmute. Michelle, do we have any citizens on the line?
We do not have anyone on the line who wants to speak for items not on the agenda.
Close the public comment portion of our meeting. And we have one set of minutes to approve today, and that was for our public meeting July 21st. We had a full board. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Conti, and I will move the approval of those minutes.
Motion made by Commissioner Conti. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jackson. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. We have several items on our consent agenda, and I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
This is Commissioner Holland. I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Holland, seconded by Commissioner Conti. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. We have, let me turn over here. We have one public hearing this morning, and that is FDP 20-001, Copperleaf Kitty Academy. Our presenter will be Kat Hammer, Planner 2, Public Works and Development. Our attorney on this matter is Mr. Robert Hill, Senior Assistant County Attorney. Mr. Hill, would you set the foundation, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This land use application has been noticed by publication in the Villager, by posting of the property, and by mailing to adjacent properties, all in accordance with the Land Development Code. The Board has jurisdiction to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Ms. Hammer, would you like to present this application, please?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioner. Kat Hammer in the Public Works Department. The application before you today is for a final development plan in the Copperleaf Master Development. The applicant, EG3 Development, on behalf of the property owner, Copperleaf Commercial Investors, LLC, is proposing a 9,972 square foot single-story child care facility. This facility and site plan also includes a 5,000 square foot outdoor play area, associated parking, sidewalks, and landscaping. The adjacent uses to this property, just to the north, is the city of Aurora, and there are commercial land uses across Quincy. To the east is a parcel that is approved for senior housing development. To the south is two family residences, and to the west is a Starbucks. The Copperleaf Preliminary Development Plan requires a special exception use or use by special review for child care facilities. After looking into this, county staff has determined that a USR is a more appropriate process for this proposed use rather than the use by special or the special exemption use. A USR requires review and decision by the Board of County Commissioners, while an FDP requires review at a public hearing at the Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners. We have moved forward processing this case as an FDP. This case did go to Planning Commission on July 21st, and we have moved forward because the review criteria for a use by special review and a final development are identical, with the exception that the use by special review should take into consideration 1041 regulations for major electrical, natural gas, and petroleum derivative facilities of a private company, which is not applicable in this application. The background for this site, it is currently within the mixed-use PUD of the Copperleaf development. It is in use area N. When we were reviewing this case, staff looked at the comprehensive plan and found that the plan set and intent of this proposal meets 4 of the comprehensive plan goals and policies outlined in your staff report. Staff also looked at the LDC and the 9 criteria required for approval of an FDP application. Staff has provided information regarding those 9 review criteria in your staff report, and staff believes the proposed FDP meets the criteria for approval. The applicant is requesting to vary from the LDC in regards to parking. When the original Copperleaf PDP was approved, it required parking to meet the 2004 LDC standards. The applicant is requesting that staff considers the 2019 parking requirements because the 2014 parking requirements are over 15 years old. In your packet and your staff report, you'll see a chart that indicates the requirements for parking per the 2004 LDC, which would require 65 spaces for this use. In that chart, it also indicates that the 2009 LDC parking requirements for this use would require 40 spaces at 1 space per 250 square feet. The applicant is requesting, as part of this approval, to include 38 parking spaces, which is a 5% reduction from the 2019 LDC parking requirements, and equates to 1 space per 263 square feet of floor area. The applicants can speak more about the parking study that they included as part of their application, which indicates they only expect 22 parking spaces based on the staff and child occupancy. And I will let them go into more details about how they have determined that number. Staff is recommending approval of this application with 4 conditions that you can find in your packet and on the motion sheet. I will stand for any questions, and I know that John Kazuka with TIC Capital is on the phone and would like to speak to the commissioners as well regarding this development.
Thank you, Ms. Hammer. We'll first go to questions for Ms. Hammer from the board, and then we'll hear from the applicant, or the applicant's representative. So any questions for Ms. Hammer this morning? Okay, we'll have another opportunity, but Yes. Why don't we go ahead and we'll hear from the applicant's representative. If you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, this is John Strzelka from EG3 Development. My address is 20900 Northeast 30th Avenue, Suite 307, Aventura, Florida 33180.
Great. John, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. Well, thank you for your time this morning, and thank you, Kat, for the introduction. We are developers of daycare facilities. We are based in Florida, but we are working on this site in your jurisdiction. We've developed about 8 of these properties, and these are very good properties for the area, for areas that have rapidly growing family and family growth and household growth, and we feel that this will be a very beneficial addition to the Copperleaf area. I would like to, I guess, start directly with regards to our parking variance request. As I mentioned previously, we've developed approximately 8 of these. This site will have approximately, at peak occupancy, 158 children and approximately 20 staff members on site. Typically, we are developing larger facilities that have approximately 180 to 190 children enrolled, and in those areas, we're seeing anywhere between 22 to approximately 30 parking spaces needed and approved by those municipalities. These schools have been in operation, these daycares have been in operation for some time and have not had any parking issues. Additionally, this is a strictly drop-off facility, meaning parents have to park and take their children in. Security is extremely important for the safety and the security of the children is extremely important for the operators of these facilities. There really is no stacking issues, and we don't want the property to be misconstrued as a school, where there are people stacked and children running into cars and buses and things like that. It's not like that. Additionally, the approximately 30 to 33% overall for the whole brand of Kiddie Academy daycares. They have about 250 locations in the United States. Those about 30 to 33% come from dual child households. So that's a pretty substantial number of people that are really only requiring one parking space. Additionally, staff typically are coming through either carpooling or alternative means, either biking or Uber or something along those lines. So that's a pretty substantial decrease in the needed amount. The site itself, if you look at the site plan, it has very solid circulation throughout. We were originally going to provide, I believe, 41 parking spaces, but the landscaping code had us add additional islands to that parking area. Additionally, I guess the other comment that Kat had too is we're going to be adding shade structures to the to the play area. There's going to be 2 shade structures that are obviously separately permitted with the building department. The property will have it will be well within the Copperleaf standard for landscaping. There's going to be plenty of shade for the children, and there's very good circulation in terms of both the parking lot and the sidewalk. Additionally, the area around the building is completely fenced. There's emergency exits from every classroom, so it is very secure and safe for children if they, for some reason, are outside of the facility. I think that's really the gist of what we wanted to talk about. If there's any questions, we're happy to answer those now.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner Baker.
Hi, and thank you, John. Is Kiddie Academy going to be the name of the operation?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And about how many employees will this academy have?
At a peak, on a daily basis, it's approximately 20 employees.
20 employees, and what was the number of kids again?
The maximum enrolled amount for this facility would be 158.
158.
They're not there at the same time. This is not like a full, there's a really kind of a rolling enrollment at the school, at the daycare.
Okay. I guess that's really all the questions that I had at this time. I thought there might be. I did think of a question for Kat.
I'm still here, Commissioner Baker.
Go ahead, Commissioner Baker.
Okay. During the outreach, the neighborhood outreach, did you receive any? I have to say, I've received some comments. The comments I've received have all been positive. I live 5 minutes away from where this facility will be, and I've had neighbors ask me if there was a way we could have more daycare facilities, either home daycare as a small business, in-home business, or businesses that would provide daycare at a reasonable price, of course, but there is a shortage, I believe, of qualified daycare. So I was just wondering if Kat had received any comments at all.
Commissioner Baker, I have not received any comments from that were glaring from anybody of the public. I referred them out to certain agencies, but did not receive anything that was noteworthy beyond the Tri-County Health recommendation for shade structures.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. I think that may even help in the other seasons as well, snow season specifically too. But so I didn't have any problem with the shade structures. And like I say, the only comments I've received generally, not in regards to this particular, but we need more is what I'm hearing. So I'm glad that, and John, you'll be, your company based out of Florida will be operating this, will be hiring qualified employees, correct?
No, we're strictly a developer. We're leasing this building to a local franchisee of Kitty Academy, and they're actually local to you, and they're a very qualified group and very involved in the community. So as you referenced, they saw a huge need for this, and we feel that this would be, again, a very beneficial addition to the community.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and just so that you're aware as well that there is very strict hiring policies, and the daycare code of Colorado requires substantial background checks, which is obviously beyond the scope of what we're discussing now. But it's a very strict criteria to be involved with these daycare operations on the franchise side.
I understand, and the state also does the inspections and recertification on a reoccurring basis as well.
Correct, yes.
Thank you. That's all the questions I had, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Baker. Any other questions on the board? I just had one on the parking. So you said that people they will be parking and bringing their children in, and so the number of parking places based on the experience that you all have is adequate for even peak times of the day?
Yeah, correct. I mean, we, just to give you a frame of reference, we have a property in Orlando, which is operated by a different franchisee that has enrollment, I believe, of 195 children. And there's only 31 parking spaces there, which is, again, it's a very substantial difference between these two properties. There's no issues with parking there or stacking or anything along those lines. The thing to keep in mind with these facilities is, again, the rolling enrollment. They're not all there at the same time, and the turnaround time for parents to drop off their kids is usually somewhere between 5 minutes or less, and so we're very mindful of situations like this, because if there are going to be parking issues, parents will not honor these facilities too. So we've been through these questions before, and we're very, very comfortable that the 38 that are being provided here is really way in excess of what's needed for the facility.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, when people get frustrated, they can't find a place to park, then especially if they're using the daycare and they're late for work or something.
Yeah, no, we're with you there. I mean, that's a big consideration, and obviously if, Kitty Academy has over 250 locations, they know what works and what doesn't, and, we're beholden to, local parking calculations, but here, we're very comfortable with what we're requesting.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for John or for Kat? Okay, hearing none, I'll open the public comment part of this for this hearing. And Michelle, is there anyone online who would like to speak during this public comment for Copperleaf Kitty Academy?
I don't see anyone on the line who is wanting to make public comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. And I'll close the public comment period for Copperleaf Kitty Academy, and if there are no further questions, I'll ask for a motion.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Baker.
Yeah, I just want to say how much I appreciate the business case that was presented in this, and I do think it will be a benefit to the community, and I think it will be one of those businesses that someone did their due diligence in looking for a location where that it will be used. It will be something that we need in that general vicinity. So I'd like to make a motion for approval in the case of FDP 20-001, Copperleaf Kitty Academy Final Development Plan. I've reviewed the staff report, including all exhibits and attachments, and have listened to the applicant's presentation and any public comment as presented at the hearing, and hereby move to approve this application based on the findings in the staff report, subject to the following conditions. 1. Prior to signature of the final copy of these plans, the applicant must address Public Works staff comments and concerns. 2. The applicant must meet all of East Cherry Creek Valley and water sanitation requirements. 3. The applicant must include shade structures in the play area at the time of building permit. 4. The applicant must meet all of Tri-County Health Department's requirements and receive approval from Tri-County Health Department prior to construction.
Thank you, Commissioner Baker. Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Holland. I second the motion.
A motion made by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Holland. Any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, John, for your presentation. Thank you, Kat and Bob Hill. And let's go to the final thing on our agenda. Are there any commissioner comments this morning? Okay, hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.